Morning, all. All right, so we got 11 games tonight in the National Hockey League. We've got 5 games starting at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 Eastern. One and a half an hour later, two and a half an hour after that, two an hour later, and then the one West Coast start an hour later at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern. So starting at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, Boston and Montreal. An old rivalry rekindled. This is the first of 3 meetings. They'll meet again March the 23rd and April 13th. Now, Boston 37, 5, and 4. Absolutely ridiculous point totals. They already have 78 points. Last 10 games, they're 9 and 1. They have a goal differential of plus 81. They have, according to Money Puck, right now, they have a 100% chance of making the playoffs. Surprise, surprise. And a 9.9% chance of winning the Stanley Cup. The Montreal Canadiens, on the other hand, not quite so fantastic record of 20, 24, and 3, though theirs is by design. Last 10 games, they're 5 and 5. Their goal differential is a negative 46. Their chances of making the playoffs, 0.2%. Their chance of winning the Stanley Cup is listed at a healthy 0%. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific start between Florida and Pittsburgh. This is the second of 3 meetings on December 15th. Pittsburgh won 4-2. March the 4th is the third and final meeting. Florida, 23, 21, and 5 overall. Last 10 games are 6, 3, and 1. They have a negative 4 for their goal differential. Odds of them making the playoffs, 46.8%. Odds of them winning the Stanley Cup, 3.3%. On the Penguins side, 23, 15, and 8 is their overall record. Their last 10 games are 4, 4, and 2. They have a goal differential of plus 10. Their odds of making the playoffs are currently listed at 58.1%. Their odds of winning the Stanley Cup, 0.9%. So, interesting matchup here in that Florida is seen as having a better chance of winning the Cup. Pittsburgh is seen as having a better chance of making the playoffs. So I think the Money Puck list is kind of fun. It's all simulations. You have strength of schedule and everything else. So if Florida gets in, apparently they have a better chance of winning the Cup. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific start between the LA Kings and the Philadelphia Flyers. This is the second and final meeting. December 31st, Philadelphia went into LA and won 4-2. And that was the start of what Philadelphia has been on since then. They've been on a pretty good run. LA, 26, 17, and 6 overall. Their last 10 games are 5 and 5. Their goal differential is negative 8. 65.5% chance they make the playoffs. A 1.4% chance they win the Stanley Cup. On the Philadelphia side, they're 20, 21, and 7. Their last 10 games are 6 and 4. Their goal differential, negative 22, so they've allowed 22 more goals than they've scored. The odds of them making the playoffs, 4.2%. The odds of them winning the Stanley Cup, 0.1%. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific start between the Minnesota Wild and the Tampa Bay Lightning. They played January 4th. That was a 5-1 win for Minnesota at home. We'll see how things go in Tampa. Tampa's very good at home. So for Minnesota, 25, 16, and 4 is their overall record. Their last 10 games, they're 5, 3, and 2. They have a plus 13 for their goal differential at this point. The odds of them making the playoffs, 77.9%. The odds of them winning the Stanley Cup, 3.2%. On the Tampa Bay side, they're 29, 15, and 1. Last 10 games are 6 and 4. Their goal differential is a plus 28. The odds of them making the playoffs, 97.2%. The odds of them winning the Stanley Cup, 5.6%. Also at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, the San Jose Sharks in against the Detroit Red Wings. This is the second of 2 meetings as well. November 17th, Detroit went into San Jose and won 7-4. That was a fantastic game. On the San Jose front, they are 14, 25, and 9 overall. Their last 10 games are 3, 5, and 2. Their goal differential is a negative 39. Their odds of making the playoffs, 0.2%. The odds of winning the Stanley Cup are at 0%. On the Detroit side, 19, 18, and 8 is the overall record. Last 10 games, they're 3, 6, and 1. Their goal differential is negative 15. The odds of them making the playoffs, currently listed at 3.4%. The odds of them winning the Stanley Cup, also 0%. 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific start between Vegas and the New Jersey Devils. This is the first of 2 meetings. They'll meet in Vegas on March the 3rd. The Golden Knights are 29, 17, and 2 overall. Their last 10 games, they're 5 and 5. They have a plus 17 for their goal differential. 84.1% chance of making the playoffs and a 2.8% chance of winning the Stanley Cup. New Jersey's 30, 12, and 4 overall. Last 10 games, they are 7, 1, and 2. They have a plus 40 for their goal differential. So New Jersey 7-1-2 over their last 10, plus 40 goal differential, 98.4% chance of them making the playoffs, 4.2% chance they're going to win the Stanley Cup. For some reason, the animals are all really loud today. So yeah, 7:30 Eastern start there, and then 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific start between Buffalo and St. Louis. The first meeting was in Buffalo. That was a 6-2 win for the Sabres on November 23rd. The Sabres keep teasing us with the idea that maybe they're back in the race, and right now it looks like they're back in the race. They're 24-19-3 overall. Last 10 games, they're 5-4-1. Their goal differential is a plus 18. 29.4% chance of making the playoffs, 0.7% chance of winning the Stanley Cup. Buffalo will take those odds. Sabres fans will take those odds, especially after what happened to the Bills on the weekend. As a Bengals fan, sorry. Then St. Louis, and I'm not used to the Bengals being good. It's still weird to me. St. Louis 23-21-3 is their overall record. Their last 10 games, they're 6-4. They have a negative 18 as their goal differential. 7% chance of making the playoffs. 0.1% chance of winning the Stanley Cup. I think those odds are kind of low, but I understand the strength of schedule is just simulated. But for St. Louis, they need to start winning. So this could be a really fun game. 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific start as well between Winnipeg and the Nashville Predators. This is the second of 4 meetings. December 15th, Winnipeg wins in overtime 2-1. The third and fourth meetings, March the 18th as well as April the 8th. Winnipeg's 31-16-1 overall. Last 10 games are 7-3. They have a plus 33 for their goal differential. Winnipeg, 98.5% chance of making the playoffs, 9.4% chance of winning the Stanley Cup. That's not too shabby. On the Nashville side, they're 22-18-6. Their last 10 games are 6-4. They have a negative 7 for their goal differential. 19.8% chance they make the playoffs. 0.3% chance they win the Stanley Cup. 9 Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific start between Anaheim and Arizona. I'm really going out on a limb wearing an Arizona jersey for this one, aren't I? So this is the first of 3 meetings. That'll thrill people too. January the 28th and April the 8th. So this is really your Bedard Cup. Could be. For Anaheim, 13-29-5. Last 10 games, they're 3-6-1. They have a negative 85 as their goal differential. 0% chance of making the playoffs. 0% chance of winning the Stanley Cup. Arizona, 15-27-5 record. Their last 10 games are 2-8. They have a negative 47 as their goal differential. 0% chance they make the playoffs. 0% chance they win the Stanley Cup. So there you go. This is first of 3 meetings between the two. And again, really going out on a limb wearing Arizona. 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific start between Colorado and Washington. This is the second and final meeting. Colorado went into Washington on November 19th and won 4-0. So Washington will look to repay the favor. They're 25-18-6. Their last 10 games are 4-5-1. A plus 17 for goal differential. But as we learned in their last game, without Ovi, they're not the same team, so we'll see whether or not he's in the lineup tonight. 75.6% chance they make the playoffs, and a 5% chance that they win the Stanley Cup. Again, I think Capitals fans will take those odds. Then Colorado, 25-17-3 is the overall record. Last 10 games are 6-4. They have a plus 17 in their goal differential. They've been making it look easy over the last few games. 66.7% chance they make the playoffs, 2.1% chance they win the Stanley Cup. And then the last game of the night, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Pacific, and get your popcorn ready. I'll be interested to see how the crowd is for this one. Chicago and Vancouver, the first of 3 meetings. They meet again March the 26th and April the 6th. Chicago's 14-27-4, but over their last 10, they're 6-4. They're playing well. They have a negative 55 as their goal differential, 0% chance of making the playoffs, 0% chance of winning the Stanley Cup. Vancouver 18-25-3. Tonight we'll get to see some structure, I guess. Last 10 games they're 2-8. They have a negative 29 as their goal differential, also about a negative 150,000 in terms of fans who really like the Canucks right now as compared to the start of the season. And I don't mean the team on the ice. We generally like the players. There's the rest of it. 0.3% chance they make the playoffs, 0% chance that they win the Stanley Cup. And I think just personally, it might be a 0% chance for the Canucks for the Cup as long as I'm around. Anyways, there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, as always, including your winners. In terms of the gambling side of things for tonight, I would say like Bears eat Canadians. Cougars are tougher than Penguins. Whatever a Flyer is, a King rules over it. Whatever the wild is, it still gets struck by lightning, so dead bear. You have a shark and a shark would destroy a car. Golden Knights and Devils. Well, you don't. Well, I mean, Vegas and the Devil. I mean, it's a marriage made in heaven. At least according to the movies and TV shows I've watched. I've never been there. Buffalo and Blues. Whatever Blues are, Buffalo would eat that. Jets would. Well, I mean, a Jet versus a. You know what? Jets versus Predators. That needs to be like one of those Sharknado type movies. I'm telling you, it'd be great. Jets win. Ducks versus Coyotes. I'll take the Coyote there because Coyotes, I don't think a Mallard would stand much of a chance in a fight with a Coyote. Eagles and an Avalanche. Well, an Avalanche to wipe out an Eagle. And then you've got Blackhawks and Orca. Well, I mean, natives do hunt whales. So there you go. There's how you can decide some winners too. It works as well as anything else. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, including your winners. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.